Hi, Chris.
I just came from the medications workshop.
How did that go?
It went well. There was a good showing, better than the one that we had on Tuesday night.
Mhm.
And I think there have been some good questions, and we had a parent volunteer to talk about her experiences with childhood medications too.
Mhm.
So that was helpful.
Good.
Heard we were having a snow day.
We are having a snow day.
So
It
I
seems
have,
like Grantham and everybody else in New Hampshire.
are we the only three on here right now?
No.
We have a lot of attendees, or not a lot. We've got 4 attendees so far.
Cool, good.
5.
Nice. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Hello.
Lou.
And we've got Randy.
All right, walking down the stairs. I'll be positioned shortly.
That's okay. This is great. We've got the band back together.
Yay.
So hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us for our monthly parent guardian check-in. It feels like it's been a while since all 5 of us were actually on together because we had some holiday disruptions and some meetings where we had to split up and divide and conquer, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to go around as we usually do and just give a quick update on things that are happening at GVS. So I will go ahead and start. I think the big news that we had came yesterday, where the governor started talking about making mask optional policies in schools and transitioning to mask optional. So we had a conversation with our progress monitoring committee last night about it. And the board has been working to find a time to schedule a meeting to do the work that they need to do about it. So that meeting is going to be scheduled for next Thursday evening at 6:30. So I'll be putting information out in my newsletter that should go out tomorrow. I have everything ready for my newsletter except the progress monitoring committee minutes from last night. And I want to finish those before I send the newsletter out because we had a big discussion about this masking issue. So I want to make sure that those are available to everybody before I send that out. And other than that, the big thing going on is, of course, our annual meeting, which is coming up on Tuesday. So we hope that we see everybody coming out to vote. And we have a web page that is filled with all of the information that you need for the annual meeting in one place. So I will hand it over to Kristen.
Okay, so from the school front, right before vacation, we had our Winter Olympics, which were awesome and I think much needed by everyone. The kids had a great time and it was great to get back to what felt like a normal, fun activity at Grantham Village School. And so it was really great. And thank you to any parents who volunteered to help make that happen. This week, since vacation, I've had the opportunity to get into a lot of classrooms. A lot of great learning going on. It was evident before vacation, people were tired and I see a rejuvenation, I think, back in adults and students that they're excited about learning. They're excited to be together.
Could you try
again? My computer's talking to me. I don't know what just happened. So that's all positive. And I understand. Oh, it's my watch. And I just, sorry. And I just wanted to remind everyone about conferences coming up. And that's what I have really. And my watch had something else, but I'm not sure what.
Yeah, did your watch want you to get up and do a lap or something?
Well, it was saying, I'm not sure I understand. I didn't quite get that.
Okay. All right, Karen, how are you?
I am doing well. I guess my two things that I really just want to talk about is if your student is sick for any reason, please let me know. I'll help you work out what needs to be done to get them back to school. I spend a very large amount of time dealing with COVID, listening to Dr. Chan, talking with DHHS. So if you have any questions, come to me. The other thing is the Upper Valley I've heard from multiple school nurses and physicians that there is norovirus running rampant through the Upper Valley. And so just to be aware that that is also here and it's lovely. The bleach is the only thing that kills it. If it's in your family, quarantine, bleach everything, maybe burn the house down. I don't know. It's awful, but I think those are my two things. Okay,
Don't burn
not
the
really,
house
but-
down.
Not really. Yeah.
John says, no, don't burn the house down.
I have one of my kids every year always gets it, like, and you can get it several times in a season, which just, yeah.
I'm gonna put
I've
a
already had it at my house.
I'm gonna put a disclaimer across the bottom of the screen. Like, we really don't mean that.
Right?
Yeah. But that's how you feel because you just don't want to deal with as much as comes out of people.
Yeah.
I'm a pleasure. Any dinner party, if you want me to come and talk about, poop and vomit, I'm a hoot.
Excellent. All right. Let's see. Let's go to Randy.
Okay, talking about
Try to top
technology.
Karen.
Yeah. Moving from that topic to maybe some clean technology.
Yes, nice clean technology and just watches that spontaneously talk to you. Yeah, so tech is actually going pretty well. We've had actually some positive things come out of all of this COVID stuff, which is funding for improving technology for things like our infrastructure at the school. So one of the things that we've just completed is upgrading all the Wi-Fi in the school to Wi-Fi 6. And so now that gives us that much faster internet to do all of these wonderful Zoom meetings that everybody's doing. And one side benefit of that is that our public internet, the GVS guest, is now available also in the parking lot out there in the main part. So if you have a need for fast internet for your kid or just in general, that's something that you can have access to out there. Generally with the students with technology, what's going on is pretty well normal sorts of things. People are using their Chromebooks and their iPads. In the instances where kids have had to quarantine at home, we've allowed them to take their Chromebooks home to do that sort of schoolwork. So other than that, Mr. Pollard's doing a fantastic job with the technology education stuff. And I think tech-wise, we're looking pretty good.
Awesome. Good. Thank you. And Chris.
Well, I've been really enjoying meeting with the kids. They are really excited to be back after their breaks. It seems like a lot of families were able to take some time to spend a lot of time together. And I think it sounded like everybody had, for the most part, a pretty good time, except for those families that had norovirus. We are still dealing with managing anxiety in the lunch groups. What I'm noticing that a lot of parents are falling into is kind of getting into that reassurance loop where kids will maybe ask the same question that they probably know the answer to a lot of times, and parents will just kind of keep reassuring them. That's part of kind of the worry cycle. So you want to just cue them to use their strategies. They all have strategies that they tell me about. They tell me about themselves talking to their worry part. But I wonder if when they are lying in bed at night and what ifing that there's a monster under the bed or something, that maybe they're not remembering their strategies. They should be doing some deep breathing to reset their prefrontal cortex, and they all know how to talk to their worry parts. I heard all sorts of names for worry parts. Bella was the latest one that I heard today, but the worry part named Bella. Mine's name is Fred, but I'm thinking I might call it by my mother-in-law's name soon because she's kind of a what-ifer. But certainly email me if you want to know more about the strategies your child knows. I do think that there is most of the kids seem to have a heightened sense of anxiety, just because there's a lot going on right now.
Mhm. Good. Well, thank you, everybody. So as usual, let's open it up through the chat or the Q&A to see if any of our attendees have any questions for us tonight.
I can keep talking about vomit if you want me to pass the time.
That's okay. Let's see if somebody has a question, maybe. If we don't get questions, I'll tell you a funny story about norovirus.
Now nobody's going to ask a question because they're going to want to hear your funny story.
Okay,
I
Q&A.
learned this week that we can use the sawdust on the carpet. I wasn't sure that we have sawdust if somebody, if
Mhm.
there's a spill, and the custodians are okay with it on the carpet.
We have a question from Sammy Curtis. When will masks be gone? A date perhaps. So the board has scheduled an emergency meeting. The fastest we could get one scheduled is next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. By that time, we as an administration will have a plan in place for them about, when we feel we'll transition to going mask optional, because we understand that that's the expectation. So my advice is to tune into that meeting next Thursday night. You can go in person or you can Zoom. In addition, in my newsletter, I put a link so that you can provide feedback to us as we're creating that plan. So there's a link just to one question to parents of what do you want us to consider in our transition plan, so that we can make sure that we're hearing everything that you want us to take into account while we're making this plan to move from our indoor masking mandate to mask optional. So in addition to that, of course, you're always welcome to say something at public comment during the meeting too. So hopefully there's a lot of chances for you to have your voices heard through this process too, even though it's probably going to be a quick process. It's 1 week from tonight, but you'll get that form tomorrow. Okay, from Lisa Jenkins. Do you have an idea of approximately how many children are vaccinated? I'm going to hand that over to Karen. She has a much better idea than I do currently.
I have record of about 122 students being vaccinated. I do believe that there are a lot more kids that are vaccinated, but I have not received records of that. So if you know anybody that's been vaccinated, have them email me a picture of their card and I add it to their health chart that will follow them to junior high and high school as well.
Okay, question from Sammy Curtis. How long is this transition period supposed to last? There's no set time according to the governor. It really is going to depend on how we roll out a plan, what we hear from parents, what we present to the board about when this is going to be best for the GVS community. I do realize that there's a way to look at it where it seems like there's a simplicity to it where you wear a mask and then you don't wear a mask, but it's really a lot more complicated than that in a school setting because there's a lot more moving parts. We have employment issues that we have to work with. We have people who are immunocompromised, very vulnerable populations that we have to work with. We have some kids' social emotional issues and social emotional like anxieties that we're talking about. And to me, the most important thing, if we're making this transition, is that we do it right for the whole school community. So I can't give you an exact, length of the transition, but I can tell you that what we'll all work on is making sure that we do it right and do it well for everybody. Okay, any other questions, comments, thoughts?
How about the snow day tomorrow? So that's the third snow day. So after this, how many snow days do we usually have in March?
There are years where we've had a lot. So, at the board meeting, I brought up, that we had technically hours wise, I think 9 or 10 days that we could do, but it was 4 years ago where we had 8 snow days after January. So it can happen. But our policy this year that we set at the beginning of the year, because people wanted kind of a combination of having just flat out straight old fashioned snow days and remote learning days, is that the first 3 would be snow days, no remote learning. After that, we would assess where we are with our time to see if we're starting to run into that, are we going to run out of hours kind of thing. And then we would start to decide if we're going to do something along the line of like more of blizzard bag kind of things. We're still okay with time, but it's also not March yet. Sammy Curtis says, no one much seemed to care about the toll it took on kids to mask up initially. How is this any different? I think this is different in terms of there was a necessity in protecting selves and others, from an illness. And now there's a lot of other social emotional things that are going on, and making sure that we know so much more about the virus and so much more about the illness and how the school runs with it, that it's very different than when COVID started. So in a way, we're fortunate to be armed with more knowledge than we were in March 2020, so we can make some better decisions. And I do think, of course, we always were thinking about the kids.
Yep.
And Sammy Curtis, and now there is mental health issues we should attend to caused by this, not sweep under the rug for those who are afraid of fresh air. And Sammy, I think I'm probably going to ask us to have this, I don't know, you can maybe address these issues with the board, because no one's afraid of fresh air. No one's afraid of the kids breathing fresh air. And you and I have had this conversation at other times. So if you would like to bring those issues up to the board, you can definitely bring them up directly. Right now, I'm hoping that this group is here to answer questions or concerns that the people who are here tonight can address. Okay, without any other questions, if you want to sign off, but I'm going to tell Karen my funny norovirus story. You're welcome to stay to hear it. So I have friends, a couple with 2 kids. The wife and mom is a clean freak. Like, everything is absolutely always in order and extremely clean. And her husband had norovirus, and she was adamant, I don't care how sick you are. Every time you get up to go to the bathroom, when you're sleeping on the couch or when you move anywhere, you're going to take a can of Lysol with you and you're going to spray everything down, because I'm not going to have everything dirty and everything else be sick. So, in the middle of the night, he got up and grabbed the can of Lysol, and wherever he went, he sprayed it everywhere. And in the morning, the kids and she were slipping all over the place because he had mistakenly grabbed a can of Pam. So the entire night, every time he ran to and from the bathroom, and very diligently and doing what he was told, sprayed absolutely everywhere he had been, and everything that he had touched, he sprayed it as much as he could with a can of Pam.
Oh, no.
Funny.
As if everything else is to clean up, and then Pam, oh, yeah, that house needed to be burned.
I
Can't
bet he-
say that.
I bet he didn't stick around long after that.
Good one. Did John like that one?
Jonathan started laughing, yes.
All right. I hope everybody has a good night. It was good to see everybody again.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.